let's call the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. We have Dawn, we have Dave, we have Mark, Mike G, Bob Brown. That's a quorum. Rob Prohl is dealing with some medical issues. Mike Kennedy is away. Sue had a commitment. And last night, Jim Dexter had something come up at last minute, and he said, sorry, he couldn't make it. So we'd like to ask Dawn and Dave to vote in two of those open places. Okay. So, first order of business. You have an appointment, Mike.
Yes, Pierre is here to talk about a culvert project. So Pierre, if you would step up to the podium and put the microphone on and tell us about your project.
So this is a culvert for a residential dwelling, and there is opportunity to do a driveway culvert to a single residential dwelling in a permit by notification, but in this case, the driveway is going to be on another property to access the residential dwelling. They're both owned by Doug Holman off of Maple Lane in London. So he's got a larger lot, and then he's got a lot that he had subdivided out. I think it was a 3-lot subdivision. One lot has been sold. The other lot he's reserving for his son, and he's trying to get a driveway into the site. The lot has frontage on King Hill Road, but the house site, besides trying to get a driveway off of King Hill Road, it was more practical to put the house site at the upper end of the lot where it would be more easily accessible from the back lot, I'll call it, that has frontage on Maple Lane. Yep. It's off of Maple Lane. The lot that the driveway is on is lot 26. Hold on, I can give you that. Somewhere in here I have. Sorry about that. Oh, it's 130, tax map lot 130, lot 26. And the lot that the house is going on is 23-1 on lot 30. So we've designed a septic system for the house, for a 3-bedroom house, and the driveway, which is actually pretty long, it's 400 and something feet long, and just before it reaches the property, there's an intermittent stream that really is surprising. The watershed area is only 9 acres, but the stream itself is scoured out, so it meets the condition of a wetland. So I've got some pictures here that I can hand out. This is where the crossing is, which is actually an old skid road. And here's the picture of the entire driveway. And this is the culvert location. We're putting in a 48-inch HDPE culvert. Here is a USGS map that shows the contours, and you can see the top of the watershed is really at the upper end of Maple Lane. We were surprised that the watershed area was so small. Yes, yep.
Besides the regular crossing, anything unusual about this project that we should be aware of?
No, other than the driveway access to the point is pretty long from Maple Lane, but we felt, Doug initially felt because the house is going to be at the upper end of the lot where they have actually, I think, some kind of a view, it was better than trying to come off of King Hill Road, number one, for safety reasons, another, the driveway would have been as long and it would have been a lot steeper driveway. This driveway is relatively flat for its entire length. So here's the septic design and the house location, which is right near the back property line. That's why the access to it from Maple Lane was much more convenient.
So they're going to have multiple properties off of this same driveway? Or?
There's no plans for that right now. It does access the larger property, which I think there's no plans to subdivide it. I know he does have at least one daughter. I don't know if he has other children, but he did mention that in our meetings that, maybe his daughter was going to build on one of those lots, and that's why we couldn't go with a permit by notification. But right now, there's no plans for that. We're just trying to get this permitted at this time for the one house.
Okay.
Yes.
Vegetation is going to be taken out with the culvert.
It's already been cleared. It's actually an old skid road. It was an old skid road crossing.
But I mean, you put the culvert in, it looks like you're a culvert and you've got abutments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking at this, it looks like you're going to be having to clear quite a bit of things. Take trees down.
The the driveway itself is going to have to be raised. It's still sort of in the old roadbed of vegetation. I'm not sure. There may be a few trees that need to be cut, but I think it's going to be minimal, as far as I can tell. But, it's a matter of raising the grade up enough to get the culvert, that size culvert in, and get the grade over the top of the culvert. And that's why the wing walls are shown there, because the grade's going to be raised, so it's going to be keep it from spreading out, to a wider swath.
But the abutments are going to go, you got the culvert and then you have the abutments
Right,
also.
right.
Anyone else have any questions about the project? I make a motion that we approve from a Conservation Commission standpoint this project. Do I have a second? Dave? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thanks, Pierre.
Okay. So
Thank
was
you for coming.
process-
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Yeah.
you. What's the process to get you to sign the application?
Leave that with us, and we'll
Pardon?
sign it and take it to the town for you.
Okay. I can hand it to you here if you'd like.
Yep. Thank you.
One other thing, Bob, I'd like to mention that
Okay.
I was walking on the Cook Trail up along Whitney Brook. I go up there with my dog a lot. She likes to walk in the water. But the couple of the bridges, the planking is starting to give way. My foot went through on the second bridge in. So,
Thanks for letting us know that.
Thank you, Mike.
There you go.
Okay.
thanks.
Do you have permit applications?
I took a look at the spreadsheet that was distributed, and the last meeting that we had covered all of the current items. We don't have any additional items to discuss. So Pierre's project was the only one that we had that was new. So nothing else for this month.
Okay. The June 18th minutes. Anyone have any comments, corrections? I have one. On page 2, under projects, first paragraph, it uses the word 14. I think that should be 24 inches tall. Any other?
Yeah, there's one,
Yeah, right.
something minor on the permits. You notice there's only 1 0 after the $25. It's 25.0, should be another 0.
Mine says it at a cost of $25.
Yeah, but it's only 1 0 instead of 2 zeros. .00.
Hers has 2 zeros.
Yours has 2 zeros, mine has 1 0.
All right, I'll double check it.
Okay. There's no other changes. I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Just quickly, I wanted to recap on the 60th celebration of our anniversary and the Bog grand opening. I wasn't there the whole afternoon, but Mark was there and Don was there. And there was a pretty steady stream of people?
We estimated about 50 people.
Okay.
At one point, there were 18 cars in the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
Yep, kind of squeezed in and so forth. So
Okay.
I think Dave and Jim took the botany walk with John Walsh.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's too bad the presentation at the hospital was not better attended. It was an excellent presentation, but I guess there's so much going on that day, and the big event, I guess, is Strawberry Fest. Yeah, yeah. But that's an excellent presentation you have, And,
The team pulled it together well. I mean, we
Yeah.
were, emailing back and forth, finding
Yeah.
a meeting, and, people showing up for rehearsal, so.
yeah.
Can't ask for anything more.
So, a lot of very, very positive comments, and people are very grateful. One thing I wanted to mention that Janet Kidder, Selectman, called me and apologized. You know, they had an awful lot going on that day, and she wanted to attend the celebration, but just had so many other commitments she couldn't. But she did ask at a later date, which I guess is now on, whenever it's convenient, she would like a tour of the bog. So I thought if we could get a couple of people together, maybe we could, walk around with Janet and, probably take a half an hour and just, look at what's been done. So I will contact her and see if there's a specific date that works best for her, and if any other of the selectmen or town people want to come and take a look. That'd be great, so I'll let you know on that.
I hadn't been out since you put in the signs. It's really nice. I took my grandchildren and they had a blast, and they saw things on the signs and then they found them.
Oh, that's great, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was something that we really needed,
yeah.
and it just makes the whole thing so much nicer. And I don't know what it is about the aluminum boardwalks, but there's some magic where kids get on those and they have to run.
You have to stomp too. It makes a good noise.
But it's nice that so many people get in there, and to your comment, Don, when I drive by, I mean, it seems like there's always 4, 5, 6 cars there, most any time, so it's very, very much visited.
During the celebration, you mean? Yeah. The open house, yeah. Just by chance, no, I think they heard about it and decided to.
Okay,
One guy gave, actually a botany tour. He was the leader of the group, and they went through and they did their own little tour. Did their own tour. They were all very knowledgeable. Yeah, for sure. So Don is gonna expand the boardwalk to 4 boards.
we're gonna do it in phases. We're gonna try phase 1, which is what, about a quarter of it?
We probably have enough lumber right now to almost do one blues.
Okay, okay. And that's coming on the 25th, and hopefully we have some folks that are gonna be excited about carrying that in.
Let's hope.
Well, it's, what, 26, 27 pieces, that's kind of manageable. I think when it gets to be 60 or 80, it's a little discouraging, because it is a lot of work.
Don and I are gonna add to that count. What do you want to get to 60 pieces?
I'd like to get 50 or 60 out there.
Yeah, Don and I are planning on getting some from your shop.
Okay,
On the same day.
Yep.
If we have a small crew, maybe we won't be able to, but.
right.
We've got a few guys. I'd appreciate the help getting.
But that wouldn't necessarily have to be done at the same time,
It doesn't.
unless you have a big work crew. Yeah,
It doesn't have to be done the same.
yeah,
Well, we probably want to get it all at least to Grand Junction, right?
yeah. Okay, good, good plan. Anything new on Kidder Cleveland Clough Trail, Mark?
We're picking away at it. Don's done an upgrade recently, and I asked Don to, do the project for the second bridge that we have in mind, so that's coming. And, that's it.
Okay, great. All right, just a little bit of an update. Our seedlings at Spring Ledge Farm have been taken out of the greenhouse and put outside, starting their hardening process. And I go talk to them at least once a week, but some of them are more than 2 feet high now. And the thing that's very interesting is that compared to seed nuts that we've started in past year with really limited sun, inconsistent temperature, they germinate and they grow, but they grow that high. And these guys are really going. And you look at the tops of them, there's a significant amount of new growth. The nice shiny red yellow stuff that looks like they're really happy. And the stems are, in some cases, almost 3/16 of an inch. They're very rugged looking. Whereas the others have kind of struggled because they probably haven't had the best soil and they don't have the best temperature and maximum sun. And these guys need sun. So that's the good news is we have 93 of them to find a home for. And Greg Berger has asked if he could keep some of them to plant permanently on the farm, which I think is a wonderful idea because we know they're going to be well taken care of. And then he also offered, if we're interested, to take a number, I don't know how many, and transfer them to his nursery, which means put them in a much bigger pot and grow them like nursery stock for a year or maybe two to get them 6-8 feet high, nice and full. And if we did that, then we might have something to talk about planting on the town green. People ask about that, and I somehow don't want to show up at the town green with something this tall. It would be nice to have something significant. So those are all, wonderful ideas, and very happy that they're so enthusiastic about doing this. And they've taken complete care, watering. We just put the seeds in the pots with the soil, delivered them, and they've taken care of them, which is great. The more I go there, the more I'm impressed. It's a big operation. There's a lot of greenhouses and a lot of work and a lot of responsibility, and I'm sure they have a million things that are probably a lot more important than, helping us. But they seem to be sincere about wanting to do it, which is, it's been a great partnership. So we are working on some locations to either plant this fall or even in the spring.
Well, where is the nursery? Where is the Springlands nursery?
I don't know.
Right on site?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Are you, yeah, green?
Just a couple of comments. I know that some of Spring Ledge is, they rent land from Osmond Sergeant Messer Farm, which of course is conservation land in perpetuity. So potentially having a discussion with Osmond Sergeant about, it may work out on their land because they have, plenty of space, I would say. I'm with Osmond Sergeant, and the land that I walk is in fact the Messer Farm, and I was there yesterday. So there's some fields there. There's lots of room for American chestnut trees, and I'd be happy to, start that discussion if that's something that the New London Conservation Commission thinks is worth following up in terms of, where they might be located. And then just maybe a cautionary note, Don noticed American chestnut resprouts along Morgan Farm Road, and we went and looked at those after our meeting last month. Some of them are pretty vigorous, but there is the fungus amongst those trees. There are shoots that are dying back and exhibit the fungus there. So it's around the area. So it's likely that some of the trees that we plant will be susceptible. I mean, that's the whole, partly it's seeing which ones are not and can be breeding stock for the next generation. So after doing that, I went up to the, what are the ones, across from the park and ride, and all those trees seem fine. I haven't actually looked at the low plane or the other ones yet to double check, their condition. But you had mentioned last week, I thought, one or two trees that weren't doing well, and I couldn't,
That's at Shaker Street.
they're at Shakers.
One of our original, or the two biggest trees, one of them got halfway through leafing out and just stopped.
Okay,
And the leaves are all brown and,
okay.
And I talked to one of the people at the foundation about it, and, I looked at it, and I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for to identify blight, but I guess it's kind of a reddish, darkish, kind of blotchy thing, and
Yes.
I didn't see any of that. And he was saying, it could be a number of things, that it could have even been a critter that got under it and, did something. So the bottom line, he said he would not recommend pulling that tree out right away. I don't know whether looking for a miracle or what, but yes, I've noticed both sites. I mean, we gave them some good fertilizer last fall, but it seemed for like 3, even 4 years, they were almost dormant. They would grow like an inch and get some leaves, but now, boy, they're really going. And, so I guess that's good news. And they keep telling me, it takes quite a while for the roots to get developed, and once they do, they're gonna take off. But, as we say, it's sure not like growing white pine. It's, but, the work that's been done, at Low Plain Site 3 is very impressive. I think we have 29 down there, so that, upgrading of the mats, the wire, the posts, is all done there. It's all done at Clark Lookout, and we're scheduled, I guess, tomorrow, weather permitting, to try to finish up Site 2, Shaker Street, which got about half done last year, and we have all the materials. We have talk about sites, and I think to look for people that are really serious and interested about this, it's great. And if they have conserved land, beautiful, because we don't want to do all this work and then find out this plan to put a shopping center in there. But the only thing is, now that the Vermont, New Hampshire chapter has made such a significant effort to support us financially and technically, I think we just want to be very careful to really make sure these are going to a good location where the people are going to be serious, and not just stick them in the ground and forget about them. Because they've given us, thousands of dollars now for material that we, probably would not have otherwise justified in our budget to do. So I think there's an obligation for us to manage our end of it and to give them some type of semi-formal report a couple times a year. But I know they've put some nice things on their website and a couple of articles that went nationally that we are being recognized for our efforts. The other interesting thing, I guess Mike got this inquiry through the website from Valley News. And I'm supposed to talk with a reporter. They want to learn more about what we're doing and possibly write an article. So that's kind of neat, so that's all good. And hopefully tomorrow goes well. If we don't finish it all up, we can, do the rest of it when we can. But it's important that we have all the materials. So we have everything we need to do it. We just need a little people power. Okay, anything to report on invasives? Okay. All right, we're still monitoring Low Plain and watching for growth. Unfortunately, Jim is not here, but we've had some communications with Keyser Lake. They're doing some things, the Protective Association. It seems like we're always on the tail end of the notices. A lot of the notices about meetings and so forth, we're getting like the day before, and it makes it difficult, Jim's very much involved, so I'm sure he's been working with them, and we'll get an update from him on that. The Bog Brook, Messer Pond, Clark Pond water level, the gauge this morning was at 1.2 feet. So that's down to, you know, we figured between 0.5 feet and 1.0 feet, half a foot to 1 foot, is kind of the low water norm. So we're just a little bit over that. It hasn't, you know, we haven't had significant rain, and the month of July is below average. We are, year to date, we're still above average, but that's statewide. But everything looks good there. The water is moving. It's not, at that level, it's not gushing, but the water's moving. And there's no algae blooms that we have seen so far or that anyone has reported. The other thing we got to follow up with Leo on is the Low Plain Forestry Wildlife Management update on the 2 parcels, and we need to get back to the state and get their input on that. And then we will be addressing, as the summer goes on, we will be addressing the dam issue, but now's not the time to be poking around in there right now. But when we're gonna get some professional advice from Extension Service and some other folks to help us just make sure we're doing the right thing the right way. Okay.
On another note on that, I just saw that the LSPA is doing, having a PhD biologist doing a beaver presentation about beavers on the 22nd on Tuesday, and presumably beaver dams. So it might be interesting. I'm hoping to get there. It might be interesting to get their
Do
input.
you know who's putting it on?
LSP, the Lakes,
No, I mean the speaker?
I don't have her name right offhand, no.
Okay.
What time is it, do you know?
It's in the evening. I think it's, 7 or something. I can't, it's in the evening. I can't remember. I don't think it's quite that early,
Okay, 7 to 8:30.
7 to 8:30. So.
Yeah.
Denise Verstead will describe the ecological role that beavers provide in river systems. The event is free, register here.
Okay. Projects. Dave?
Well, I guess this is maybe old business, but just while we were talking about the Lake Sunapee Protective Association, I saw that the commissioner, I guess, did require them to update their sewage system. So I think we talked about that last week, about that open meeting and about what might happen. And I saw a report that her report had come out, and they were going to move forward with a fairly fast progress with an update to the existing system, so they're not going to have to spray their effluent on the forest anymore. So, nothing for us to do, but just good to know that,
So that's a good outcome.
that's
I mean,
that's the best outcome, yeah.
That's great.
we'll see what happens, but it's a step in the right direction.
So does that mean most everyone is happy? Okay. Okay, good. That's a good thing. Okay, the other I put this under new business because we couldn't seem to get details. We had a request from Osborne Sargent to introduce a new project. And we had a little trouble getting detail. And unfortunately, Andy was the one who was spearheading this, was away last week. So I didn't really get to communicate with him Monday, but it sounded like there is a property owner who wants to introduce what could be a really, really nice project. and do it right through an attorney. And the attorney might come and speak with us, but apparently there was some miscommunication, because Andy asked me to talk to the attorney to see if, you know, there was enough detail to really talk about this project. And in speaking with the attorney, she indicated there's a lot of stuff up in the air. It's probably going to settle eventually and be very positive, but it's really too early to talk about any detail. And she was surprised to hear that we expected her to come to this meeting, because she said she didn't know anything about it, and she had other appointments this morning and couldn't come. So, any rate, it looks like there is a potential project forthcoming. You know, none of these things happen overnight, but that would be great if we had a New London project to talk about, especially if it's significant. So that's good news.
I think that, what I understood was, it became clear to Andy that there was a lot more details, that needed to be ironed out. And so, eventually, he wants the town and the attorney to iron them out. The attorney needs to come with clear answers to the town.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once they have their sort of plan, then the town can decide if it makes sense or not.
Sure.
In the beginning, it sounded really simple, and then, of course, these things always get more complicated.
Yeah. So good. We'll stay tuned on that, and hopefully we can make some progress. We talked about the lumber delivery. You think you have enough people?
Well, I haven't even tried yet. I'll recruit
Okay.
a day or two.
I will check with John, but I suspect it will be first delivery, but I'll confirm that. So that's, what, 8-ish usually? Okay. And then our next meeting is on August 20th, or right here. Do we have any other new business?
Yes. Last month, we got a letter in from the Pine Hill Ski Club about their annual request to use town property for their ski trail. And what I should have done was to make a motion for approval, but I forgot to do that. So I did not send them back a response yet. So at this meeting, I will make a motion that we approve their usage as they had in the past, usage of the 4 town lots that they normally use for their winter ski trails. They have provided, as they always do, the certificate of insurance and so forth. So they filled out all the paperwork. So I make a motion that we approve that for this year. All those in favor, aye?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we happy with what they've done at the end of the season, cleanup-wise?
I am. They've stacked all of the materials, and of course, you know, we're working towards making the trails be more permanent on our property so that we don't have any of the temporary materials. But yes, they have been pretty diligent in maintaining and moving materials out of the way.
Thank you.
So all in favor, aye?
Hi.
Opposed, nay? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Mark?
Bob, do you have any update on Hannaford Drainage Pond?
You know, the last I heard that the state, DOT, was going to have a meeting and I thought it was with Adam. I tried to reach Adam, but he was not in, but I'll follow up on that. You know, at least they were talking. But, you know, every time I go by there, I look at it, and the pond is pretty well dried up, and it's got a lot of cat nine tails in there. It's thick vegetation. And I guess they used to periodically clean it out, and I don't think that's been happening lately. And, you know, the question probably is who's gonna do it and who's gonna pay for it? Well, it's not on town land, you know, so, we'll check and see if there was a discussion.
I think just one other note on that, all of the principals that should be involved are probably involved in that project. So Rob Livingston from DES and Mike Thomas, who has all the data that he collected, and Jim Dexter and so forth. So a lot of people are involved in that, so all of the key players are aware of what's going on, and we're supposed to be kept in a loop on that. So I think that that's a positive sign that things are going to move forward.
One other thing, we're having I guess, Friends of Conservation paddle and potluck party on Monday the 28th at Wadley State Park, and I think most of you have heard from me on that. I'll send out another email in a few days and get more specific, but I hope you can all come for either the water part and or the food part. Well, 2 to 7, like that. I rented a pavilion, so we've got good facilities. Thank you.
Okay. That's it? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We do have one non-meeting thing, Mark. You do have your computer, right? Yeah, okay. All right, good.